Today, we'll show you 10 of history's most destructive wildfires that have made history with their massive size and fierce power. One such fire took the lives of 3,000 people and destroyed 17,000 homes and buildings. Another burned so wildly, it impacted 3 billion animals, including 61,000 koalas. And there's one that moved so fast, it burned 80 football fields a minute at its peak. And stick with us to the end because we'll reveal a wildfire that burned around 55 million acres, a space so large it's almost unimaginable. So get ready, hit that subscribe button, and let's get started. 10 Australian bushfires, 2019 to 2020. It was a year we'll never forget. Before anyone had heard of COVID-19, Australia faced its own enormous challenge. During the summer of 2019 to 2020, the country witnessed the most devastating bushfire season in its history. The fires began in September 2019 and escalated dramatically by December, carrying into the new year. They mainly devastated New South Wales and Queensland in the southeastern part of Australia. The scale of the destruction was immense. Around 19 million hectares burned, which includes 12.6 million hectares of dense forests and bushlands. Tragically, 33 people lost their lives, and over 3,000 homes were reduced to ashes. The wildlife toll was even more staggering, with 3 billion animals affected. This included 61,000 koalas, heartbreaking losses across species, including 143 million mammals, 2.46 billion reptiles, 180 million birds, and 51 million frogs. This catastrophic event was fueled by Australia's hottest and driest conditions on record. In 2019, the average temperature was 1.52 degrees Celsius higher than normal. It was the hottest year since people started keeping records in 1910. January that year was the hottest month ever recorded in Australia. Also, it rained a lot less than usual, 40% less than the average. 9. The 2025 Los Angeles wildfires. Since January 7, 2025, Los Angeles and its surrounding areas have been under siege by relentless wildfires. At the end of January, 4 big fires are still burning: the Palisades Fire, Eaton Fire, Hughes Fire, and Border 2 Fire. These fires are causing a lot of destruction. The Palisades Fire first broke out in the Pacific Palisades neighborhood, quickly spreading across 23,448 acres. Following closely, the Eaton Fire erupted near a canyon north of downtown, engulfing 14,021 acres. The Hughes Fire started near Castaic Lake on January 22nd, rapidly growing to cover more than 10,000 acres. These fires, particularly the massive Palisades and Eaton fires, are already considered among the most destructive in California's history. The devastation is immense. To date, the wildfires have claimed at least 29 lives and forced over 200,000 people to leave their homes. More than 16,000 buildings have been damaged or destroyed. Contributing to the fire's ferocity are severe drought conditions, low humidity, dense vegetation from the previous winter, and hurricane-strength Santa Ana winds, with speeds hitting up to 100 miles per hour. The financial toll is catastrophic, with damage costs potentially reaching between $200 billion to $275 billion, setting a grim record for the costliest wildfire event in U.S. history. This far surpasses the $12.5 billion in insured damages from the 2018 campfire, previously the nation's costliest. Talking about disasters, you can also check out our video on 20 most dangerous natural disasters that changed history. 8. California Campfire 2018. In November 2018, the town of Paradise, Northern California, became the setting for the deadliest wildfire in California's history. The disaster began on the morning of November 8th, caused by a faulty transmission line from Pacific Gas and Electric Company, PG&E, in Feather River Canyon, along with fierce katabatic winds. These strong winds drove the campfire quickly through Concow, Magalia, Butte Creek Canyon, and through Paradise, decimating these communities. The wildfire moved at an unimaginable speed, covering the space of 80 football fields every minute. Within just 4 hours, Paradise was almost completely wiped off the map. The fire continued to rage for 2 more weeks, finally being contained on November 25th, after scorching 153,336 acres. The impact was tragic. 85 people died, more than 50,000 people had to move away, and over 18,000 buildings were ruined. The total damage cost was about $16.5 billion, making it the most expensive natural disaster of 2018 in terms of insured losses, even more than Typhoon Jebi in Japan. If you like this video so far, leave a like, and you can also check out 7 most wonderful natural phenomena in the world on our channel. 4 Evergreen. 7. The Cedar Fire of 2003. The Cedar Fire holds the record as the largest wildland fire in California's history. It began 25 miles east of San Diego, in the Cleveland National Forest, sparked by a lost hunter who lit a signal fire for help. This small act led to an unimaginable disaster. The fire spread at an alarming rate, burning 3,600 acres every hour. On the evening of October 25th, 2003, what started as a 20-acre fire exploded in size. By midnight, it covered 5,500 acres. By 3 a.m., it had reached 62,000 acres. By the next morning, the fire had reached the city limits of San Diego. The San Diego Fire Rescue Department responded with a huge effort, deploying 50 engine companies, 11 brush rigs, 9 truck companies, and 2 airport firefighting rigs. Despite these efforts, the communities of Scripps Ranch and Tierra Santa were heavily damaged. By October 28th, when the fire was finally under control, it had destroyed 28,676 acres within the city, ruined 335 structures, and damaged 71 more, causing losses of about $204 million. Overall, the Cedar Fire burned a total of 280,278 acres and destroyed 2,820 buildings across the county, including 2,232 homes. It resulted in the deaths of 15 people, including 1 firefighter. 6. Black Friday. Bushfires, 1939. January 13, 1939, marked one of Australia's darkest days, known as Black Friday. On this day, bushfires swept through over 5 million acres in Victoria, a state in southeastern Australia, fueled by a long-lasting drought, soaring temperatures, and fierce winds. The fires covered more than 3/4 of the state, resulting in 71 deaths, making it the 3rd deadliest bushfire in Australia's history. The most catastrophic day saw temperatures hit 44.7 degrees Celsius in Melbourne and 47.2 degrees Celsius in Mildura, a town in the northwest. That same day, 36 people died, and the fires destroyed more than 700 homes, 69 sawmills, and many farms and businesses. The devastation was widespread, destroying many towns and leaving thousands homeless. The environmental damage was also severe, with millions of acres of forest lost and countless animals killed by the flames. The impact even reached New Zealand, where ash from the fires was found. The 2007 Greek wildfires. In the summer of 2007, Greece faced a terrible series of intense forest fires. These fires started showing up all over the country, but the worst ones began on August 23rd. These fires quickly became uncontrollable and burned fiercely until August 27th, but they were not completely put out until early September. The areas that were hit the hardest were the western and southern parts of Peloponnese and southern Euboea. The toll was heavy. In August alone, 67 people lost their lives to the flames, including several brave firefighters. By the end of the crisis, the total death count rose to 85. The fires burned over 670,000 acres, destroyed 1,000 homes, and damaged or consumed 1,100 other buildings. From the end of June to early September, Greece faced over 3,000 forest fires. Earlier in the summer, in June and July, fires had already claimed 9 lives. The fires were driven by strong winds and high temperatures, which made them spread quickly and intensely. They were even visible from space. That year, 4% of Greece's total forest area was burned down, making 2007 a year of major loss and destruction for the country. Fourth, the Great Fire of 1910. Over just 36 hours in August of 1910, a devastating wildfire, often called the Big Burn or the Big Blow Up, swept through 3 million acres of untouched forest across Montana, Idaho, and Washington. This disaster occurred just 5 years after the creation of the U.S. Forestry Service and tested the agency's courage. The fire ignited on August 20th, fueled by high winds and low humidity. Several smaller fires combined into one monstrous firestorm that moved incredibly fast. In just one day, it consumed over 1 million acres. On the next day, the firestorm continued its relentless spread, reaching the town of Wallace, Idaho. The residents were forced to flee as the fire wiped out the town's eastern section. The fire didn't spare other towns either, and it caused extensive damage to vast stretches of forest and numerous wildlife. As the largest wildfire in U.S. history, it took the lives of 87 people, including 78 firefighters who courageously battled the flames. The intensity of the fire was so severe that survivors reported seeing flaming trees being ripped from the ground and thrown through the air at speeds of 70 miles per hour. The heat was so intense that trees exploded like Roman candles, according to one survivor. Before we move on to our final selection, we have a question for you. Have you or someone you know ever experienced a wildfire? Share your stories with us in the comments below. Now, let's get back to our video. 3. Siberian Taiga Fires, 2003. In the summer of 2003, one of Europe's hottest summers set the stage for a devastating series of wildfires in the taiga forests of eastern Siberia. These fires, known as the Siberian Taiga Fires of 2003, are considered the largest wildfires in history, burning approximately 55 million acres across eastern Siberia. Fueled by unusually high temperatures and dry conditions, likely linked to climate change, the fires spread far beyond Siberia, affecting the Russian Far East, northern China, and northern Mongolia. The smoke from these fires was so extensive that it traveled thousands of miles, even reaching Kyoto. The environmental impact was severe. The fires released an estimated 450 million tons of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere, roughly equal to the annual emissions of the United Kingdom. This massive release of CO2 contributed significantly to global warming and environmental degradation. 2. Black Dragon Fire, 1987, China and Russia. In 1987, a huge forest fire called the Black Dragon Fire, or the Daxing-Anling wildfire, happened. It is thought to be one of the biggest and deadliest forest fires in modern times. This massive fire burned for over a month. It destroyed about 2.5 million acres of land, including a huge area of 18 million acres of forest in China and Russia. The damage was severe. 191 people died, 250 got hurt, and more than 700 homes were destroyed. The fire's effects were felt far away, with ash even reaching New Zealand. It forced nearly 33,000 people to leave their homes, breaking apart communities and lives. The exact cause of the fire is still not clear, but it might have started by mistake. 1. The Peshtigo Fire and the Great Fires of 1871. In October 1871, for 3 days, massive fires burned across the upper Midwest of the United States, including Michigan, Wisconsin, and Illinois. This event is known as the Great Fires of 1871. During this time, 4 huge fires took place. One of these was the famous Great Chicago Fire. It killed about 300 people, destroyed 17,500 buildings, and left 100,000 people without homes. At the same time, 3 other fires in Michigan claimed the lives of over 500 people. However, the most heartbreaking was the Peshtigo Fire in Wisconsin. On the night of October 8th, this fast-moving fire swept through the town of Peshtigo, killing 800 residents and eventually leading to up to 2,400 deaths in total. This makes it the deadliest fire in North American history. And that's it for today. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned to Forever Green, and join us as we continue to explore the forces of nature that both create and destroy.